Tragedy actually struck at a private lodge near Royal Kitchen Junction, Ifite-Awka, Awka local government area of Anambra State late Thursday when a male student of Nnamdi Azikiwe University Awka jumped from a three-story building and died. It was gathered that the student, name withheld, jumped from the balcony of the building located near the school after allegedly consuming some unknown substance suspected to be watermelon. According to eyewitnesses near the scene, after the victim fell to the ground, all efforts to bring him back to life proved abortive, as he was later confirmed dead in a nearby hospital where he was rushed. The victim, whose name is still being withheld pending notification of his family, was identified as a tenant in the lodge. Shockingly, when concerned residents checked his roommate was found in an incoherent state, allegedly under the influence of the same substances they had taken earlier. When contacted on the development on Friday, the chief safety officer at Unizik, Ken Chukwura, confirmed the incident, adding that the incident happened at a private lodge outside the school and an investigation is actually ongoing into the matter. Well, I've been hearing about this particular illicit substance, watermelon, and all of that for some time now. Aside the other substances that had drugs that we know, I've asked questions about it, which I will not want to say, here. But from what explanations I've gotten, it's really, obviously it's something that you drag and then it passes through the lungs. And then let's just say that let me not put that in the air yet, but let's get your thoughts on this, please, quickly, Mr. George.
Well, first of all, it's very sad, the loss of a life, like a human life was lost. It's very sad. A young person lost his life, jumped from a three-story building and died. Very sad. Drug abuse is a very big problem in our society, and there are many drugs that are abused, right? When you talk about drug abuse, it has become a serious addiction, right? And in my organization, we do a lot of work on drug abuse awareness, sensitization, and all that. And I'll give you an example. In Syria alone, they have a serious problem with drug abuse among the young people. And working with young leaders across Africa, I do a lot of work. I go to the field, so I witness directly what these people are going through. And some of them know that these drugs are dangerous. The knowing is not their problem. The problem with them is that, they will tell you that they are going through some pain or they are escaping from some ugly situation in their life. So one thing with addiction is that you don't just leave it. There's no vacuum. There's no emptiness. Like, there's no empty slate. When you're leaving one addiction, you have to replace it with something better. So this unfortunate incidents is a warning and a reminder to a lot of young people. The tendency to abuse drugs is very high. A lot of people are frustrated, a lot of people are impoverished, but it's not an excuse because not everyone abuses drugs. I don't abuse drugs. And secondly, there's usefulness of drugs. There are some drugs that people abuse that are actually useful medically. They are very useful. There are medical benefits of it when you use it rightly. And when we talk about drug abuse, people always picture cocaine, Indian hemp, marijuana, and there's a drug called Kush. I came to know about it because of my work in Sierra Leone. That's a drug that is highly abused in Sierra Leone. In fact, the situation is so bad that you see young people on the streets of Freetown knocking their head on a pole, like making a public spectacle, a despicable sin, a sin that beats your imagination, a sin that breaks your heart. How a young, vibrant guy will just go into a drainage or a gutter or some refuse dump and just collapse there and start misbehaving.
I'm sorry to cut you short. You said that most of them that consume those drugs know the harm it causes to the body.
Exactly.
But they still engage to take them.
Yes. One of the reasons why they will tell you that they're engaging in it is because they feel it's going to help take their... It's like an escape route for them from their pains and sorrow. But truthfully speaking, it is not. Because when you look at the impact of drug abuse, it might actually relax your mind for a while. But then, it's actually damaging vital organs of your body. Because at that point, you have lost consciousness of who you are. Your dignity, nobility, humanity have been stripped off. Like, you really don't know what you're doing. You don't know where you are. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're saying. Your sense of reasoning is blurred, is disrupted. You are not thinking logically and rationally. You are just trapped in a lost world. You are in a lost world at that point. In this case, the young guy's roommate was found in the room in a very unpleasant state, in an unpleasant state, in an unpleasant situation. And now a life has been lost. I don't want to go ahead of the investigators. Investigation is going on. We are used to a system where when there is an unfortunate incident, there will always be investigation. But what lessons do we learn from the investigations? Do we learn lessons from the investigations or we don't? Do we apply these lessons to the general public? What about the young people today? Like most of the young teenagers in secondary school, most of them are already abusing drugs.
We're talking about teenagers abusing drugs. Let's refer to this back to the story about the roommates that was in the room, but this individual, this gentleman decided to leave, you know, because like you said, most of these drugs makes them irrational. They find it difficult to comprehend things. In that instance, if the roommate was in the room, did not inflict pain on himself, it could be that he has gotten to the stage where he was able to manage the situation not to be violent. So in that instance, I'm thinking probably this individual is just doing this for the first time, or probably it's something that he has not really been used to, and then he got involved into that. I'm just trying to think in that line.
Yeah, there are many case scenarios that can happen in a situation like this when this roommate was found in the room in a very bad state, but he couldn't. He jumped and died in the process. Quite unfortunate. May he so rest in peace. I feel so sad. I empathize with his family. He has family members, he has loved ones, but he's gone. So sad, so heartbreaking. Having said that, there are many scenarios that can happen. There are some people that, like myself, I'll give you an example of myself. I don't take alcohol. Like, if I take even a bit of it, I am shut down. Like, I'm shut down. Like, I know of some people that they can take like 4 or 5 bottles of alcoholic drinks and they don't feel like, you know, there's nothing like they took something. They talk to you well, they, you know, relate with you well. But if I take just half a cup of an alcoholic drink, it seems like my central coordinating system of my brain just go on shutdown mode. At that point, I might not even find my way. Like, I'm lost. So I don't take it. So you have to do what works for you. Now, in this case, possibly, there is a possibility that his body system, he does not have that receptibility to contain the impact of this drug that is very powerful and high. And now he took it, you know, there is a common slang or statement, highness. But the problem with it is that you can hide to your early grave, like you don't plan it. Now in this situation, the reaction differs. That's why the other one, maybe the other one is a long-term user of the drug. So at some point he can contain it. Okay. And maybe this other person might be, we're just speculating, we don't have all the details, we're just painting scenarios. And maybe this one might be a first timer and he could not contain it. Like, he can't contain it. I've seen a situation of a young guy that abused this, whatever the name is. The name is so technical to pronounce, and the problem that comes with it is also very technical. And the problem mentally is also technical. The guy abused this drug, and the whole of that compound had no peace. he was misbehaving, he was restless. They have to hold him and try to tie him up because he was becoming a thorn to his flesh, like becoming a nuisance to himself. Now, having said all this, I would like to say that young teenagers, most of them that are in secondary school, and even some of our musicians, they're not helping matters because of their public display of all these drugs and all that. And then for young teenagers that are in secondary school, most of them too now are caught up in this drug abuse. See, when I saw this drug called Kush, like in Sierra Leone, I was shocked. There is another one that looks like a stone, red, and I've forgotten the name of that drug. If you take that drug, it's like it deletes everything in your brain. Like it's so powerful, so excruciating and captivating that it can make you run mad. So I ask people, why are you still taking it? Like, if you want to be high, I don't know, but why do you need to take this kind of drug that it looks like stone? Like, it looks like stone. It's a very powerful drug that is abused, and it is going to destroy you, and you're still taking it. So it's not because most of them like to do it. Like I said, it's not a knowing problem with many. It's an addiction problem. Addiction is something that it's very easy to start, very difficult to break. And when people are addicted to some particular drug abuse, it becomes difficult for them to stop it because they always have craving for it.
I wanted to ask, in this whole scenario that you've listed here, what do you think can be done from the society, the government, the family? Because it's a holistic approach here. It's something that, because this individual, this young man, is from a family. And, you know, I really don't know how his whole upbringing has been before he got involved in this. You know, the name he has given to the school, the first name, you know, this first instance has actually, in one way or the other, given the school a bad name, no matter how we want to see it. You know, so what do you think has to be, you know, a decision, a joint decision that has to be taken to reduce this continuous intake of drugs?
Well, I think you need to start from the family units, the family, yes, because most addiction, or a lot of this addiction, they have what we call a breeding ground. They have a habitat. Every addiction starts with a habit, and every habit dwells in a habitat. And so if you're trying to address the problem, the pain, because it's a pain, like, of drug abuse. And when we talk about drug abuse, it is not just the cocaine, the Indian hemp, and all those hard drugs. Drugs like paracetamol that are very common, is one of the most abused drugs in our country today. Because some parents, you know, once the child have headache, oh, go and buy him paracetamol, go and get him this drug, go and get him that drug. They don't check what is this child really in need of this particular drug, right? It's not every case of headache that you need to address it with that drug. You need a medical doctor, a qualified health professional, to know what the problem is, what is causing your headache. It might be stress related. It might be your mind is clouded with too many things. You are worried, you are troubled, maybe you are emotionally traumatized. So many things can aggravate or cause such a situation. So just applying one method across board is actually, before you know what is happening, it becomes an abuse. So the family, there's a need for the family to have more engagement with the parents, more especially. Now this brings us to parenting. Parents need to have more engagement with their children. There are many absent fathers. They are physically present, but emotionally absent, financially absent, morally absent, psychologically absent. They are just there answering the name daddy, but daddy is not physically, emotionally available to look at that your child has started acting strange at home. And you don't ask the child question. Like when I was growing up in my house, when we go to school, when you're back from school, my mom, she act like a CIA official. She's very, very caring though. But she wants to know, she observes some strange things around you. She'll sit there and she's like, please talk to me. What's going on? Like if a child starts abusing drugs, their behavior changes. And if the parent is not observant, if the parent is not emotionally available, the parent will not even care. And the child is abusing the drug. It starts with a habit. And then from that, gradually, the child will start stealing. because it starts with one addiction. And now addiction needs to be, you need to finance it. I'm writing a paper on the financing of addiction. Now, how do you finance it? The child has to buy those drugs to continuously. And when it gets into his, when it becomes absorbed into his system, it's very difficult to stop it. It's very difficult to break from it. So what are the early preventive measures the family can take? Is that get involved from the childhood stage. Get involved. Don't be an absent father, an absent mother. Some will say, oh, but I'm always at home with them. I don't know that they are abusing drugs. But you are not emotionally present. You're not connecting with them. You're not listening to them. You're always talking. You're always preaching sermons for them. Sometimes sit down, listen to your kids, hear from them. Let them tell you their stories. Don't shame them. Right? When they tell you that, mom, I don't know how my body is doing me. I feel like smoking. Don't quickly crucify them. Sit them down and correct them. Someone out there is misinforming them. They are eating from the plate of misinformation outside. Now it's your responsibility to mold and shape the information and ensure that the phone in their hands does not become a platform to amplify and restructure their addictive tendencies and behavior. Rather, have proper monitoring. Who are their role models? Who do they look up to? Do they look up to drug addicts? Do they look up to people with questionable character? And these are the people they look up to. What kind of songs do they sing? What comes out of their mouths? How do they dress? Do they always have some behavior like, every time they are trying to do hide and seek, and when you're not there, before they throw sweet in their mouth because they have smoked a lot, right? And then all that. So you try to get involved in them. And then secondly, the religious institutions as well. They play a very important role. The government plays an important role. We have the National Orientation Agency. We have the Ministry of Information. We have the Ministry of Education. We have stakeholders. We have non-governmental organizations. We have agencies. We have community leaders. We have traditional rulers. We have elders, like people that should be involved. It's a national topic. It's a national issue. We have institutions, the universities and all that. So we can do all that. I can go on talking about this for a day.
It actually shows here that you have so much to say concerning